Well, it's Super Bowl Sunday, and that light flickering in this is actually the Super Bowl game that's on the TV right in front of me. Am I watching it? Not really. I do like the commercials and I like the pre show and I like to know what's going on. But at the same time, it's just not that big a deal to me to watch the game. I like to get with friends and I love the food. But we're not doing either one tonight. Me and Gary are here by ourselves. And was looking at all the festivities on here and looking at their uniforms. In fact, I was trying to think now, who's who? What color are they? I realized that, we look at people in teams and we recognize them by maybe like this is their uniforms. We recognize people different ways. And I was thinking about how do we recognize Christians? And there's so many people that are quick to say, well, they're not a Christian because of this, and they're not a Christian because of that. So that's just first of all, when you say that, you've just outed yourself right there is really immature. Trying to tag people and decide who's a real Christian and who's not. That's something I had to lay aside years ago. I had to try to lay aside whether I'm thinking who's going to heaven, who's not going to heaven, and all like that. And it changes everything when you realize that's not your responsibility. My responsibility is my walk with the Lord and how I portray Christ, as I portray Christianity. We know that the Bible said Jesus had said it's very simple when he talks about it. You will know them. You will know they're disciples. Disciples are learners. You see that maturity. You'll know they're a disciple because of their love for the brethren. It didn't say you'll know they're a believer or you're going to know. No, you will know they're a disciple. There's somebody who's growing. There's somebody who is walking with the Lord because they love one another. Now, ideally, I'm going to tell you something. You watch people, I saw for years, it seemed like people, the longer they were in Christianity, sometimes the less love they showed. Yeah, they were more judgmental. The more doctrine that they got under their belt, the more they decided you're one of us, you're not one of us. And really and truly the love scale, loving the brethren. It's one thing to, love somebody out here, a victim or somebody, but what about loving other Christians? Those that don't believe like you believe. They still claim to be Christians, but they don't have the same doctrine. They don't go to the same church. That's a litmus test right there. Yeah, it is. And it's interesting, Jesus, he was walking around with his disciples and he had said something particular, and he talked about these trees a couple different times. But even, I believe it's in the Sermon on the Mount, he talks about that a tree is known by its own fruit. Whether a tree, in fact, I think I have it in Luke here. It says, this is Luke 6:44, for every tree is known by his own fruit. I love that right there, his own fruit. For of thorns do men do not gather figs, nor of bramble do they gather grapes. So you're not going to go over here to this thorn bush and expect to get some figs. You're not going to go over here to an apple tree and expect to get an orange. No, you're going to expect to get an apple. If you're going to go to a pecan tree, you expect to get some pecans. You're not going to get a lemon. And so that tree is known by its own fruit. And what's interesting is it doesn't say that a tree is known by its behavior. It didn't say a tree was known by its deeds. It didn't say that a tree is known by its works. It said a tree is known by its fruit. By its fruit. What is the fruit? Fruit, it can manifest in some deeds and some behavior. It should. But what is the fruit? What's the fruit that he's looking for? What is the fruit that the world is looking for? Well, I've already said, he said you'll have love. And I think when you're talking about a fruit of the Spirit's fruit, it's love is the first one. And the rest of it really just describes love. You could probably put a colon after that and say the fruit is love, and the rest of it is what? Joy, peace, long suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, and temperance. I wanted to read them because I didn't want to miss any of them. That's the fruits they're looking for. You will know them by their what? By their faith, by their long suffering, by their gentleness, by their meekness, by their temperance, by their joy, peace. That's what he's looking for. That's what the world's looking for. They're not looking for your works. It's not your behavior. Did they stop drinking, smoking, cussing? Well, those are important things if you're going to have a successful life. You can't just be a drunk. Did they stop, are they out here doing all these good deeds? Do they go to church every Sunday? Do they give their tithes? Do they do those are good things. But he didn't say that's how they know you're a Christian. They don't know you're a Christian because of what church you belong to or whether you go to church or not. They don't know you are who you are, your own fruit, because of all the things maybe you stopped doing. But it is about who you are. That's your character, your peace, your joy, your goodness, how you treat people. That's what Jesus was looking for. Because he was showing up, he was talking to these Jewish people. He didn't say you're going to be brought into this new kingdom because you were circumcised on the 8th day, or because you go to the tabernacle, or because you keep the Sabbath, or you follow the law. No, he said, this is how you're going to be divided. I'm going to divide you out. The elect was the Jews. They were always the elect. That's what he called them. They were his elect, Israel, my elect. But then when Jesus come along to Israel, he came first to the Jews and then later the Gentiles. But he said, I'm going to get a remnant out of you. And the way he took the remnant out, the way he elected them, the rest of them would be blinded. But those that were not blinded, that would come into the new kingdom, were those, he said, it's how you treated the least of these, how you treated people. Were you over there with your pride, or was you gentle? Did you have this fruit of the Spirit? Did you have humility, or was you up there with your long robes? Was you up there with your high seats? Did you walk past Lazarus, the beggar? Did you walk past those that was in prison? Was you in prison? Did you feed them? Did you visit them? Did you clothe the naked? He said, these are the way I'm going to divide you, like a shepherd would divide sheep and goats. The same way I'm going to divide you. This is the criteria. The criteria is how you treat people. It's what kind of fruit do you have? That's what the world's looking for. That's how you're promoted. That's how you are going to make it in this world. If you really want to experience the kingdom of God, I'm not talking about what you do when you die. I'm talking about now. I'm talking about the kingdom of God. Those that have the kingdom of God are those that are walking in the Spirit. And when you walk in the Spirit, you're going to have the fruit of the Spirit. And you're going to have the gifts of the Spirit to manifest those fruit too. So I hope I don't know what this got to do with the Super Bowl, but hey, it's pretty super. Hope you enjoyed it. Talk to you later.